Welcome to Twin Speak, Christian music and other stuff. I'm Joe.
And I'm Matt.
And we're twin brothers who, like many of you, were raised on and by Christian music. Listen as we dive into the melodies and lyrics. We'll explore the artists and bands that shaped our upbringing, from the synthesizing energy of Krumbacher to the hard rock anthems of Petra, Skillet, Whiteheart, Striper, and more. We'll share our favorite memories, the concerts that blew our minds, and the tracks that still resonate with us today. In each episode, we'll not only review iconic albums and songs, but also invite special guests, fellow musicians, fans, and maybe even some of our childhood heroes to join in on the conversation. Expect plenty of surprises, from deep dives into the stories behind the songs and twin banter that comes along with being twin brothers. So whether you're a die-hard fan or just curious, we promise to keep it entertaining. Get ready for some epic throwbacks, insightful discussions, and of course, lots of laughter. Let's celebrate the music that brought us together and continues to inspire us. Welcome to the journey of Twin Speak.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Twin Speak, Christian music and other stuff. I'm Joe Prainito, one of your hosts, and I have my less better looking twin, Matt Prainito, who really allowed me to get a majority of the good looks, and he's also sporting some weird thing on his face today. So, how's it going today, Matt?
You know, I'm doing well. You know, I'd say, you know, you actually look awful after going to Cancun. It just looks like you're tired. I don't know what you've been doing the entire time while you were there, but I may have some things on my face, but you know, we'll let the cat come and lick yours off. So that's all right.
You still look like you got a tarantula on your face. So anyways.
You know, okay, all right. Anyways, let's move on to the important stuff. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Christian music and other stuff. So, anyways, we're here. So today is a special episode. We are joined by Bryan Duncan, who many people know from way back when, from Sweet Comfort Band. I say way back when. We'll go all the way.
Yeah, you probably passed him in a museum at some point.
We can go to March.
Adam Tussauds? No.
March 16th, like back in 54 or something like that. I don't know, somewhere around that area, I think.
Yeah. What could say?
See, so way back when. But Sweet Comfort Band, also a wonderful solo career and a decorated artist with Grammy Awards and Dove Awards, also an author, multiple music videos. So we are super excited to have with us podcast. Yeah, we're super excited to have with us one of our own heroes in Christian music, which is Bryan Duncan. Thanks, Bryan Duncan. How you doing tonight?
Oh, all right. How do you pronounce your guys' name? It looks like paint right in the beginning. It's
yeah.
Prainito.
Oh, well, look at that. You actually nailed it right off the bat. And not a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Wow, it's like a Nito prayer. It's like, hey, we're Prainitos.
Okay, so that's actually how we used to tell people how it's praying is Nito. So it's funny you're saying
so
that.
I got something right on a first shot. That's a rare thing.
You got two things on a first shot. You got the pronunciation and you got the actual.
You know, in my life, that's been true for a lot of things. So, you know, in the studio, you know, we learned really quick, push red on the first take, because that might be as good as it gets.
Yeah, I guess so. That's probably I could see that being accurate too. Because you're like, gosh, dang it, we just can't seem to get back to the way it sounded the first time. So, anyways,
yeah, it had more energy. You're real excited when you get in there, and then about the fourth take, you're going, okay, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this song so long.
I think I do that on videos at work. I do great on the first take, and then after that, I'm like, gosh, dang it, I'm messing it up, and I'm taking like an extra 45 minutes. So usually if I can just barrel through the first time, then I'm good. But yeah.
It helps if you shaved first, I bet. But anyways.
You know, Joe, can we just move on with the show, okay?
You know, I tried to grow a mustache like that, by the way. You know, because everybody in the Sweet Comfort Band was facial hair everywhere, beards and mustaches. So I tried to grow one once. And after about 2 weeks, somebody said, did you walk under a cobweb? So, okay. So I'm going to be, you know, Indian faced.
You'll definitely stand out. You know, you stand out as the one that didn't have facial hair. So
yeah, you kind of did actually. When I look back, I'm like, he's the clean cut one. So you had long hair, but you're still fairly clean cut. So
yeah. Even that was a hard go. You know, when I got to Riverside, I was still kind of East Coast looking.
Oh,
you know, I came out to we start that band. and the drummer had hair to his waist. I mean, he looked like a mop. And his brother, it was his brother, for crying out loud.
Oh.
And his brother was Rick was tall and skinny and had hair, clear to his belt line, and then his brother had a beard and like an afro looking thing, and he was kind of pudgy, and I swear he looked like an Ewok. In fact, I'm pretty sure he modeled for the Star Trek movie.
Here, we want the Ewok to look just like this. George Lucas nailed it.
So we want to be able to talk to you, and we don't want to take up your whole evening. We appreciate you taking the time with us tonight, for sure.
No, it's too late now. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I go to bed by 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
it's like, well, it's already past my bedtime.
Yeah.
Imagine how I feel. Like we're 9 o'clock right where I'm at right now. So, usually I'm the one that's staying up late and waking up.
Who's in Washington? One of you is in
Washington.
Washington State. Okay,
Yeah.
over here.
I'm in Washington. So
okay.
So I'm on your time zone, just a little bit north. So everything that happens in California winds up here.
Oh,
usually.
So where are you? You're in Washington State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go up there all the time, but I haven't been there recently.
Oh yeah, it hasn't changed. Lots of green, lots of rain.
Yeah. Traffic's gotten worse though. Don't kid yourself.
Traffic's gotten a lot worse. That's true. It's followed me from LA. We actually, Joe and I grew up in California, Riverside, actually. And
really?
So yeah. Chino,
you ever heard of Quincy? Like Quincy, Washington?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in that little town. I started school there.
Oh,
my
wow.
dad was a preacher in Quincy, Washington.
Okay.
And then they kept running away from home. I think that they were trying to, give me the slip. But, we moved around a lot after that. But I used to live there. I was baptized in Soap Lake, Washington. I think that's pretty significant.
Soap Lake, Washington. Yeah. Baptized in Soap Lake. That's actually really funny.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Anyways.
it's clean. It's soapy. It's a soapy lake.
Yeah, it's done. It's over, Matt.
I know. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop now.
Stop with it. It's not even funny. So,
well, just like your mustache jokes, not even funny. Keep going, Joe.
So Bryan, going back. So Washington. You moved around quite a bit, from what I understand. Younger, your dad was a preacher. But was he also in the military, or was somebody in your family in the military that kind of brought you guys moving around a bit?
No, they were my family, a long line of preachers.
Oh, okay.
And usually Pentecostal, Assemblies of God preachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, as far back as I can remember, they were, straight-laced. They grew up in Colorado and, farm boys. And they went to those old-fashioned camp meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the sawdust days when the sawdust floor was around. I come from a long line of preachers. So you might have heard of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they were in the Salvation Army, so to speak.
Oh, yeah, that would probably be it. So
yeah.
Now, when did you? Because you have an incredible voice, incredible talent. Your range is just out of this world. When did you first learn that you can sing like that? Like, was that in church or just in the shower? Like, what? How did that come about?
Choir.
No, if you grow up in church, you're singing pretty early.
Yeah.
And I didn't really. I had a lady in the church who gave me her son's guitar after he committed suicide, and then she thought I reminded her of him, and so she gave me his guitar, and I didn't know how to play it, so I started making stuff up. But I was probably 16 by then. I was already playing bass guitar in the church service. It was like a little tiny church. They were like in high school. I started that in high school. Played drums and there was a lot of instruments around, piano, organ from the church, and I'd go over to the church all the time and play. And I was standing on stage playing to nothing. Nobody. I'm almost back there now, on stage playing to nobody. And, so it was like, I came home from high school one day. I was like 16, I think junior in high school. And my dad was doing a a talent contest. It's called the Teen Talent Contest, and it was for our district, I guess. I don't know how big that was, but it was in North Carolina. And I came home from school one day, and he said, "We don't have anybody to be in the male vocalist category, so I was wondering if you could, do one of the songs that you wrote." And I'd only written like 2 songs, so that was, didn't take much. But I was the only one in the category, so I won. They even gave me a trophy, and I thought, hey, this could be fun.
Yeah.
And, I went on to the state championship thing.
Wow.
And I won the state. And then I went to the quarterfinals, and I lost out to a guy with kind of a heavy, rotund guy who was singing "How Great Is Our God." No, that wasn't it. What was it? It was one of those big triumphant things, and I was singing kind of a James Taylor sounding thing. So it was, I might as well have been, at the wrong party.
Now, do you still have that? Do you still have that trophy that you won?
No, I have no idea what happened to that. I went to college, about a year and a half later down in Florida to a Bible college, and I thought I would be returning home, but I didn't survive a whole year at Bible college. There was too much fun in Florida, so and I came home for maybe the summer, and I don't remember packing anything to leave. I came out to California because my cousins lived out here, and they said, "Man, you should come out here, man. Nobody cares what you do up here." So sounded good to me at the time.
Yeah.
Eventually you wanted somebody to care, but at the time it seemed like freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. How old were you when you moved to California then?
Well, let's see, what's the first year of high school? 70, it was you're 18 senior, and then you're 19 first year of college. So I was probably 19.
You're fresh out of
a lot of stuff happened right about then. So, I mean, those years went by in a hurry.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe now because I'm telling those stories on my podcast in an episode that I do on Thursdays. And, I have to Google all of this stuff again and go, what year was that? You're kidding. That much stuff happened in like 2 years? Yeah. Went to college, got kicked out, and went to North Carolina, or from the Carolinas to California, and then met the band within 3 or 4 months of being there, and started playing with them. And then summer hit, and I moved out to Riverside.
Okay.
Used to hitchhike out to Riverside to the new Calvary Chapel satellite church that Greg Laurie was doing, and Greg was, I would thumb a ride with him out, and he would do the Bible studies, and Sweet Comfort would, rehearse mostly, and then we played every high school and college for 100 miles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny. Wow. Harvest Christian Fellowship, that was our church when we lived in Riverside.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, we grew up with.
Well, if you would have been there the first year, you might have got me as a Christian counselor, because I was one of the correspondence counselors.
Oh.
And you'd fill out your questionnaire, new converts, and then you'd send them in, and I would grade you and tell you why you weren't really saved.
Well, actually, instead, we didn't get you as a counselor, but we did get you on a youth night. On a Wednesday night, you played off of Mercy.
No kidding.
And that had just come out. And so my brother and I think it was one of the first maybe years that we started living in Riverside, and we went out we walked or rode our bike.
Because if the Mercy Project, man, I'd been solo for a while.
You had been solo for a while.
Yeah, that was 90. Yeah, that would be 92, 93. And that album just came out. We picked it up that night, and we're like, wow, this is an incredible album. It was different than Anonymous Confessions and
Strong Medicine.
Yeah.
Well, you know why? Because Strong Medicine was a $10,000 record project, and then I went to Word. I signed with Word Records, and by the time I got to Mercy, the Mercy album was probably $100,000 record. So you can hire a lot of really good talent.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not the only one playing on it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't remember who all. I think there was like 3 guys doing. It was me and Chuck and uh, Brown. What's his name? I can't think of his name. Larry Brown was producing it, and Chuck was doing most of the stuff. And then there was almost nobody on that record. On Strong Medicine,
Yeah.
It was. That was when loops came out, you know, and you could put drum machines down, and you know, and occasionally we would bring in somebody and have them play the bass over, you know, a fake bass, and so you know, some of the stuff sounded better than, you know, jot and tittle.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, I mean, from Sweet Comfort Band to some of your earlier music, you know, when you came to Strong Medicine, it may not have been a big budget, you know, record project, but it was the first one that I think my brother and I listened to and fell in love really with your voice. And it was really off of real videos where my brother and I were watching the video, Don't You Want to Rap? And
Baby! Yeah, was that on Strong Medicine?
that was on Strong Medicine.
No kidding.
And so that came across and we thought, wait, this is Bryan Duncan? He raps? And
well, you know what? I was mocking rap at the time. You know, I started to notice that my kids were listening to it, and I'd be driving down the street in the neighborhood, you know, and the kids would be out on the driveway, you know, going, yo, yo, what's up? And, you know, I was annoyed with it. I'm going, you know, they're ruining music. Oh, the older I got, the more I sounded like my old man. Like, that's not music. That's a bunch of banging around.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, I did this whole story with Chuck Barth. He's saying we should just tell the story. The thing about rap is you can tell a whole story, and it doesn't matter if it's real busy or not. You know, so I remember pulling the drapes in my little studio and hiding because I didn't want anybody to know that I was doing this. It felt like I was betraying my own genre.
Yeah. Now, was it interesting?
But, you know, I was listening to, who was it? There weren't a lot of rap groups out yet. The Beastie Boys. Remember they had the, whoa, you know, it was like, so, you know, that's where I got most of my take. Well, I'll do it like these guys do it.
Yeah, right,
you know?
right.
Well, it was good, and I'll say for our youth group at the time, they really enjoyed it as well. So, well, it might have been, you know, somewhat a little mockery or tongue in cheek type of thing. It really resonated with at least.
But it gave me a chance to argue or to complain about airplane travel as well. You know, it's 8:50. In fact, you know, to this day, when I go to the airport, in fact, last year I was in Denver. And, you know, not a lot of airports have gate 81. And a lot of people thought that was a joke. It was like, 81 is not a gate. Yeah, in Chicago, there's an 81.
Yeah.
And in Denver, I took a picture next to 81. And, of course, it was 8. I don't think it was 8:15. But it's like, gate, and 81's the gate. So I still do that stuff, you know, to catch United to Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny.
Well,
because with
I
that,
work around airports a lot, so that's my line of business. So,
and I was thinking about that earlier today because I was listening to it today, and I thought 81, the gate. I see C-15, and I see, you know, like I see all these gates. I've never seen an 81 gate.
that means you're
no, you know what? It
walking
was
a long way.
inspired by Chicago, though, because I was in Chicago, and I was complaining about they charged me for my excess fee if I had too many bags.
Yeah.
And that was before, you know, it got really ugly. Yeah. You know, that was before TSA. You could walk right in with like 6 bags.
Oh.
I used to throw 6 bags of T-shirts and records and stuff on the curb, say, I'll be right back. And I'd drive across the street and park my car and then come back. And the Skycaps knew me pretty well because I was always there. And they would have it all checked in for me. And
wow.
Boy, these days you couldn't do that. You know, I'll just drop 6 bags and
walk
back in 20 minutes.
You can't do that.
Yeah, and you come back and they'd say, "Okay, that'll be $400." You know, to get you from here to there with those bags. But Was it interesting? I know we're jumping ahead a bit, but was it interesting though? Because you did this song, which is "Don't You Want to Rap" off Strong Medicine. It's a low budget, album, which had some amazing songs. "Stand in My Place," even the title track "Strong Medicine." "Don't You Want to Rap" becoming probably a very requested song. You had T-shirts with it that said "Don't You Want to Rap."
Oh man, all of a sudden I had little kids at my gigs that I'd never. I usually played to an audience my age, which was on mid-20s, I guess, probably by then, or maybe he was close to 30, I guess. But suddenly I had all kinds of little kids in the audience, and they would come up and recite all the lyrics to me. So I was
wow.
better get them right because everybody knows a song.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Oh, my brother and I, we still get together and we'll do little
Car karaoke.
car karaoke, and we've done your song several times just because people are like.
Well, I forget the words to most of my songs now. It's like I was telling the story about one of the records that we did recently called "The Waiting Is Over," and I had to go back and look up the lyrics. I'm going, what did we do? What did I say there? And it's pretty nice when you go back to your songs you wrote 10 years ago, and you're going, hey, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen always, but
we saw you off
listening to. I played "So Far So Good." It was off my first record, and man, the thing's got a funky groove. I did have more enthusiasm about funk music, stuff with a hard groove to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about fitting into a genre that they were calling CCM at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually, they had CCM perfected till I didn't even qualify.
That's interesting. So go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, at what point? I mean, we're bouncing around a little bit, but just curious. You've gone off to your. Was that me? Sorry, I heard.
It could have been mine. Mine might give. It's just a notification. Somebody's probably having an emergency. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nothing. Exactly. We can wait. Talk with us about your transition from Sweet Comfort Band into your own solo career. Like, what did that transition look like? Because you were very successful in Sweet Comfort Band, and then moving into your own solo career, where again you've done a number of albums.
I just wanted off the road. When I quit the band, I was 30. I was almost 31, and my wife was pregnant, and we were going to have a child. And Sweet Comfort Band, I was making like $200 a week, and I'm like, I'm going to have to get a real job. So I didn't quit to go solo. I quit, and number one, because I wanted to stay home for a while. I mean, it was just gone all the time, and I worked a job as a concrete guy, with a concrete company, which was mostly digging ditches. And that'll really humble you. It's like, I used to be somebody. And now I'm digging trenches. But somebody said, I could get you a contract. Oh, this is one. Oh, it was Randy Stonehill's manager.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I was wondering if you could just book a couple of things for me, once or twice a month, because maybe I could sing a little, as I could make that much in one concert as I do in a whole week, pouring concrete. And he said, "Are you kidding me?" He says, "I could get you a record contract in the next week or two." I was a little surprised, but it happened pretty fast after that.
Wow.
But have the first solo record was "Have Yourself Committed."
Yeah.
Because still felt like I'm gonna go back to the asylum.
I have that right back here. I got.
Yeah, look how skinny I am right there.
Oh, look, I remember seeing that in a bookstore when I was younger.
Yeah, I lost like 20 pounds for that. I was dead serious, boy. Let's get serious. We're not gonna have. And I still had a little pot belly. And my manager would always point it out too. Says, you got like a little paunch. Thanks. Nothing like, lifting your spirits, making you confident on stage.
Yeah.
Just knowing that, you're still a short, pudgy guy.
That's funny that your manager would actually point that out to you.
Yeah.
Managers, well, at least mine was, he didn't want me to get a big head, and so I had no problems there.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that album, that was a great album, and I know we used to see that at the Christian bookstore all the time and be like,
Oh yeah.
is that Benny Hester? Like, no, that's Bryan Duncan.
Yeah. Bryan Duncan. I know. We
I
can
didn't get
tell.
that too much. I got Steve Camp a lot.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I could see
I
that.
think I could see that.
He had a
too.
solo record out about the same time I did, and we get mistaken all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. So with that, you launched in this career. Now you were looking to get off the road. Did you get right back on the road? Is that kind of how that happened, or were you able to stay home a little bit more?
Well, for the first year, I was recording that record, and I was writing at my house, and wrote 10 songs. And back then, it was a concept. You could put songs together and have a whole story within the record. They don't do that very much anymore. But so I wasn't I didn't take off right away. It was like I was playing some local stuff and occasionally flying to dates. That was one thing that was cool about going solo was it's just me.
Yeah.
I just get on a plane and fly out and do this gig.
Yeah.
But there was some horrifying things because it was awful being on stage by myself because I couldn't afford a band. But I'd be on stage by myself and I felt like I had to hold everything down.
Yeah.
So I started dressing really wild, like on Holy Rollin'. Man, I wore really bizarre clown-like outfits.
Yeah.
Because I was
have that one back there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Holy Rollin' Project. You can't see that. There's
It's dark.
the jacket was a plaid,
Yeah.
yellow and black, and it had a red shirt and a yellow tie
Okay.
and leather pants. It was bizarre.
Wow.
Look at it.
That's funny. So basically,
But it was insecurity, and I just didn't feel like I could.
Yeah.
I had to hold the audience's attention all that time.
That was kind of
That
fun.
was that's a different one.
It's a
I got a
different one.
smoking jacket in there.
Yeah.
And-
Exactly.
In a
Bolo
really
tie.
hideous looking. It's someplace between disco. That little string tie.
Yeah. The bolo tie.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Disco.
I used to have a bolo tie. But no, this album though, I mean, My Little World, Only Want to Do What's Right. I mean, such great songs. And I think you did a video. It was called A Concert in the Park, I want to say.
Saturday in the Park. Yeah.
Saturday in the Park. And we bought the VHS of that, and it had, I think, a collaboration of Holy Rollin' and Have Yourself Committed, really kind of with you in a park in the middle of the day. On a,
I remember it.
Beautiful
I was
day.
there.
You were there.
Yeah, I kind of remember.
I watched it, I don't know how many times. But it's starting with Strong Medicine and going back and then hearing your other stuff. Out of curiosity, when you think back to the multiple songs that you've created, what's one of the most memorable songs that you've written, and what was that process like? Was it, at the end of it, it was this, wow, I nailed that one.
What are we talking about? What is the most
Memorable
Repeat
song
that.
that you've written? What's the most memorable song that you've written?
Oh man, I don't know. That's you don't know if it's going to be a good song or not until it gets on the radio.
Mhm.
And most of the time, it was songs that I'm going, really? That's the song they liked? That's the one you want to put on the radio? So it was kind of like that. I don't remember anything being all that amazing.
Mm.
You know what was amazing was I Love You With My Life from way back, the Sweet Comfort Band.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of snuck up on us, and it seemed like we toured for a year and a half before that song hit the radio because somebody played it in Florida.
Mm.
And then we got there, we got home, and I had to look it up. I had to look it on the record.
Oh.
What song is that? It was a ballad. And I'm going, oh man, it just figures it's a ballad because we wanted to be a rock band.
Right.
And so I went back and learned it,
Mhm.
and of course that's a mainstay to this day.
Yeah.
I'm 70 now, and I'm still playing "I Love You With My Life" because everybody likes that one.
It
Yeah.
is. It's a great song. Another good song that along that the same lines of that was All My Life, which was that was off of Whispers in the Dark. Like that was a great song. All My Life had some, great harmonies in it, but then at the same time you had like that jump and, you go low to a lower range to a higher range. Then you came back down to the lower range again, and we're like, what is he doing? Like it was a beautiful
You know what
song.
that is? That's attention deficit. Like get bored really quick. One that's even better than that though is later on. There's a song called "All Is Forgiven." Never been all that close to you.
Yeah.
Starting to wonder why. And then when I get to the thing, it's been a long. It goes way up, and it's like my wife loves that one.
Yeah.
She's like, that. But that's more of the dynamic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but no, there's so many great hits. When I look over the course of your career, just it's funny. I was going through albums, today, and I've done it over the course since we have Spotify, and I don't have to put the CDs in or the vinyls on. I could just kind of quickly look at them, but just to kind of go back through them, the fun songs you went into, you have a lot of great ballads, but then you have a lot of fun, upbeat songs and a lot of humor. Like your humor is a very big part of
Yes.
who you are. And I,
The record company hated that though. They hated this, because I have a deeply sarcastic side,
yeah,
and a lot of people don't understand that. If you're being smart aleck,
Yeah.
well,
I'll
it was misinterpreted as arrogance or flippancy. I came off kind of flippant a lot of times because there was always a smart aleck song.
Yeah.
The rap song was one of them. Then there was Mr. Bailey's Daughter.
yeah,
Oh,
Which is another storybook song, but just done a little differently.
great
Yeah.
song.
yeah,
And then there's another one called, when I'm talking about volunteering for stuff, it's called Looks a Lot Like Me.
oh yeah,
This is like,
It looks
who's
a lot
going
like
first if it
me.
looks a little dangerous? Looks a lot like me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was pretty fun.
Oh yeah, and we learned something about your humor. We went to go see you in Palm Springs, and
Yep.
you were at a Christian bookstore.
No kidding.
You were doing in Palm Springs. You were doing kind of a double header. you
Yeah.
played twice, and we bought tickets to both shows. And
Same show.
I don't remember that.
yeah,
I was solo in Palm
You
Springs.
were solo, no band. You were playing the tracks.
Oh yeah,
and,
that was 90% of my
yeah.
career.
yeah.
But while we were in the Christian bookstore that afternoon,
You were
had
signing.
a bowl of M&Ms, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
you want some M&Ms? And we're like, sure. You're like, don't touch the green ones. Those ones make you horny. Those are
I said that. Oh God. That was before I.
Now I like the green ones.
I think they sent me to school to learn to curb my my blurting problem. 'Cause, in fact, I would say stuff on stage that people, the kids liked it because it was smart aleck. But I know my management had a formal apology letter. What he meant to say was, it was always something that I would say really off the cuff and always got me in trouble.
Yeah.
But I just never thought my dad was a preacher, didn't want to be one,
Mhm.
because preaching always felt condescending to me somehow. It was like, and I didn't want to be up there, it was just too much trouble.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I'm doing a podcast, and I'm kind of preaching a little bit.
Yeah.
With the smart aleck, though, it's kind of,
Yep.
Somebody asked me to write a devotional, like Jesus Calling. Sarah Young did a
Oh, that would
thing,
be fun.
and I thought, okay, well, I'll try it. It was just a little.
Yeah.
Just need to write a paragraph, and I started writing them, and they just 2 lines in, and I would be off the subject. It was like, and that became a book called Prayers You Won't Hear in Church.
yeah,
Because it was like, dear God, are we on speakerphone? Because there's people that know stuff about me that I didn't tell them. Or dear God, I need you to kill someone.
Yeah.
So I mean, And that's what nutshell sermons started too. Is like they were 2-minute rants that would start with whatever, something that irritates me. Is like, this is annoying. I did a whole thing that was hysterical about, you ever beat the crap out of a doorknob. You don't think you're really stressed out, but suddenly one thing triggers you, and I'm gonna fix that doorknob, boy, with a ball peen hammer. And that's kind of the way nutshells are, the nutshell sermons.
Yeah, those.
I eventually find some redemption in it, but
No, those are. I do like the bite-sized kind of chunks of information in those, because those are fun to listen to, and they do have some good meaning in it, but some good sarcasm as well from time to time.
well,
So
it goes
I
by at
appreciate
100
them.
miles an hour too. Because
Yeah.
in fact, when you hear me talking, it sounds like three people talking over each other. Because that's the way it sounds in my head. If I'm saying something out loud,
Yeah.
the back of my head is going, "You're an idiot." It's like you just hear it in the background, going, "Oh, no, you're really full of yourself." It's like that kind of thing. I could say that it was the devil, but I don't think he's that good.
That's right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you traveled around quite a bit, solo, but you also did some time with Allies, and they kind of worked as a backup band for you. I'm not sure if they were opening for you or something like that, but what was that
Yeah.
like? Being on tour with them and sharing the stage with those guys.
I knew those guys. I mean, Bob Carlisle was in that, and the other two guys were from San Bernardino, and they were in a group with Randy Thomas, who was the guitar player for Sweet Comfort Band. It was all local guys.
Right.
So, and they started a band. Randy wanted me to be in a band with him called the Duncan Thomas Alliance,
Oh,
and I just didn't want to be in a band. I just, I was always talking like, well, we are going to do this, and we are going to go. And I thought I didn't feel like I felt like I'd lost myself somehow. I was just like I was part of something all the time.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he got together with Bob Carlisle, who Bob did all of our background vocals with us in the early Sweet Comfort Band days.
Oh,
You can
okay.
hear him in everything. In fact, when I went solo, he's in everything. He's all over. In fact, you mentioned All My Life.
Yeah.
Go listen to the bridge in All My Life. That's Bob Carlisle, just stacked vocal.
Really?
It sounds like the Beach Boys.
Oh,
Huh.
I mean, it's
okay.
the best vocal stack I've ever heard,
Yeah.
Wow.
ever, on anybody's record.
Wow.
Okay. Well,
No, that's
now I'm going to go
incredible.
back and check that one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, it's at the bridge on the backside.
Now, you guys also, not only was Allies out with you, but you guys also brought Amy Grant with you as well, I believe.
That's see, that's Bob Carlisle. I had nothing to do with that. Bob is the same kind of guy. I mean, he's he hit it better than I did, but he was the same kind of. He has a lot of that same smart aleck, and we were doing a record store appearance, a Christian bookstore, and they had a life-size cutout of Amy Grant, and he stole it.
Oh,
Well, maybe they gave it to him. We don't really know. You can't prove that he, but somehow she wound up in the van with us there, and so we started introducing her at the next gigs. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Amy Grant. And everybody will like flip out, and we card the stand up and set her up next to the guitar player, and leave her there for the rest of the night. Sometimes I'd come over and hold the microphone up to her face.
she was shy then, a little shy.
Yeah, it was kind of mean,
Did she ever? Did she know that you were doing this? Did you ever?
I
tell
don't think we
anything
ever
about it?
told her. I did gigs with her years later when when I was at Word. I did some Christmas shows with her, and I don't think I mentioned that.
Yeah,
Like
we've
that
met
was a long
before.
time ago, and it wasn't my fault. I didn't have, that was Bob.
That was
Yeah.
my fault.
Let Bob be the one to admit to that. Let him be the one
exactly.
to pull that one out. So,
Yeah.
go ahead, Matt.
Out of curiosity, just with all the your music, you have, I mean, you said you like things that are bumping. You have R&B, kind of soul. What were some of your influences that influenced you into the music genre or non-genre, I guess, that you performed really more on your solo career?
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, I was just listening to the radio mostly. Back then, the radio had a variety of stuff, and it was all good.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when I first went solo, I was taking cues from Wham had that song. I can't think of it right now. But they, the T-shirt that says "Have Yourself Committed" that I put on, big letters.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like the, Choose Life thing that they were doing.
Okay.
And I liked he had kind of it was a pop soul kind of sound. And then I liked, who was that guy? Howard Jones. You remember him?
Okay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh, yeah.
whoa,
Yep.
whoa,
See, I can hear that actually. Yeah. I mean, because you do a
yeah,
lot of whoas.
well, he was encouraging because he would play all by himself, and he'd have this stack of keyboards around him and
Mm-hmm.
drum machine and bass. And I thought, if he can get away with that, then maybe I could do that and not look like I'm, just sing karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
That was really a hard thing to get over, playing by myself and trying to bring my songs was. Mm-hmm. But I thought, you know what? If we use bass samples and drum patterns,
Mm-hmm.
And I play the piano over it, we wouldn't have to. You might not notice the guitar player's not there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I can't even count how many times we've seen you live.
Yeah.
But, we've seen you with a band, Superfest
Mm-hmm.
in California. I remember seeing you there. That was a kind of a big show up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And you had a band there, but then majority of the time, whenever we saw you play, it was with you had a keyboard. Actually, we saw you at the Bren Center with John Gibson too.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. There was a
Irvine.
band for that one.
And there was
That
a
was
band
a-
for one too. That was
the most money I ever made in a single concert.
Really?
It was like I was doing this gig, and KYMS was a radio station that was huge. They were rivaling the regular rock stations in Orange County, and I'd just come out with a record. I can't remember when this was, but
Strong Medicine.
we did this
Strong
gig
Medicine.
with it was just going to be me, and then they brought on John Gibson. Almost last minute. It would be me and John Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only time that we ever did a full blown show like that, and it was just me stand up by myself. And I don't think John had a band either. I'm not sure, but it was at the Brent Center, and it was a pretty good size stadium. But we were thinking 400 or 500 people, and we would sell like tickets, like $7 tickets or something. And it's like there was like 3,000-4,000 people at that.
Yeah.
And they all bought tickets, and I think I made $19,000 that night.
Wow.
It was like, wow. Back then, that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like,
Well, that
hey,
was
hey, let's do that again.
You'd
next
think we
weekend.
would have done more gigs, but
Yeah.
we were kind of on different tracks, I think, at the time.
I think that was actually the first show we ever saw of yours was at the Bren Center.
Yeah.
So you remember that?
It was packed.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
packed.
Do you remember that? Were you there the night that I forgot that I had a microphone, a wireless mic, hooked up to me, and I went into the bathroom and I was yelling and making all kinds of noise.
No,
So like,
I don't remember that.
oh, well, that actually happened.
Wait, so
I was
you
in there,
did,
forgot to turn that mic off.
so you did the Naked Gun?
Fortunately, they didn't hear me going to the bathroom or anything, but
Yeah.
I think I was, being stupid, like usual. Yo ho, that kind of, and and they're hearing my voice coming out while, well, what's his name singing? I think.
That's funny. Okay, no, I don't remember that at all. But that's
Good thing that it didn't really happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I just made that up.
I'd say you. You said you got yourself into some trouble on stage, but I'd say I don't know for me and I think also for my brother and probably many others, it just made you genuine and down to earth. That okay, here's somebody that I could probably just have a conversation with, and just talk with. And
And here we are
and
having
here
a
we are,
conversation.
exactly. And
See,
so I think for me personally, I appreciated the just you being you, because through years of even my brother and I doing music, I can't even say how many times I've gotten myself in trouble by saying the wrong thing on stage,
oh yeah,
like pretty bad.
Uh-huh. Well, good. It
And
wasn't just me.
so thank you for the inspiration to
well,
just be you. But I think
I
that's
still, at this point, I'm at an age now where, you start back going, where did I go wrong? It's like, trust me, it's coming for you. You get into your 70s and you start going, what did I not do right? I
yeah,
mean, this couldn't have been all there was.
yeah,
Did I miss something someplace? From what I understand, everybody goes through this, kind of regrets, or you're calculating what your life has been worth, and
hmm
you'll always come up short. I'll just tell you.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
there's always something you think, wow, I could have done that better.
yeah,
yeah.
And it goes by so fast that you're going, wow, I didn't realize, you know, that's why we look back and regret stuff, because we might not have remembered that we took that for granted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now
Exactly.
I was a hospice chaplain in
Oh,
Riverside for about
Mm.
14
name
years,
dropper button here. No,
and I'm dropping my own name,
I know
but
you
I'm
are.
just saying
How old are you?
I'm
You
47.
did hospice stuff?
Yep, yep, for 14
Wow,
years, and yeah, and it's funny. I actually commented on something. I put something on Facebook, and way back when you were like hospice. Wow, God bless you for that work. You commented on that, but
yeah,
but I did sit with a lot of people who, at the end of their life, that's the thing that they do. They look back, and you don't have a lot of time looking forward when you get that prognosis. So you start to look
yep.
back and you reflect on what you did, what you didn't do, what you could have done better, and you start to wonder: did I do enough? Did I spend enough time with my family? A lot of those questions come up, and
Yeah, I remember my dad went through that too, and he was a
yeah,
preacher his whole life, and
hmm
he was still not happy. At the end of his life, he didn't feel like he did enough. And I think, when it comes down to what your life was worth, I even had a counselor tell me that once. He said, if you put all of your time and effort into one thing, it will feel really bad at the end because that's all you did.
hmm yeah,
He was suggesting that I invest in other aspects of my life and
Hmm.
in other people, and have a variety, because if you do just one thing for your whole life, it'll never be enough.
Hmm.
that's interesting. Yeah, but
Yeah. But
but
that's true. I mean, you kind of diversify your life and what you're interested, the different people. Because if you, I personally, I spend a lot of time at work, and so there's times where I'm like, what am I doing? Like I know that it can absorb all of my time if I allow it to,
Sure.
because it will. Nobody else is going to say no except for me. I'll keep saying yes, or people will just keep shoving it down my throat. But if I don't take time for friends, for family, for
Yeah.
church, for other
Yeah. This is
hobbies,
what I'm talking about.
yeah.
So I lost a marriage because I was gone all the time,
Mm,
and
mm,
I took all that stuff for granted.
mm,
Early on when COVID hit, um, I found myself like unemployed.
mm,
Suddenly, you couldn't do concerts anywhere,
mhm.
right.
and I'm sitting on my back porch a whole lot. That's how I originally started doing a podcast, because and it took me 3 years to figure that one out.
Mhm.
About halfway through COVID, I thought, I'm going to have to start doing something else. It's clear that there's not a path forward, especially with music these days. It's just so different, even in church world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you start to realize. I wrote a song about that once, where it says, "Sometime we all come to find we can't stay where we've been."
Mm,
And I'm going, you think that when things are smooth, that it's just going to always be that way,
Mhm.
and I guarantee you it won't be.
Mhm.
No matter who you are, or what you have, or what you've accomplished.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we'll mourn the loss of somebody, and then like a month later you don't even hear about them, and we've
Mhm.
the world moves on.
Mhm.
yeah.
I heard that from
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers in a football interview.
Oh,
He said, when he got injured, he said, I got injured, and he said, I was out of the game. It's just like that. Now I'm having to work on my uh, physical therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just there in the room, me and a couple other people maybe. He says, and the first thing that I noticed is the world did not stop for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they just moved right on. Next man up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yep, that's kind of what we're discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
that time is so short that we have, so yeah, obviously, when we're younger, we seem to allow a lot of time to slip through our fingers. It's
you think you
we
have
allow
it.
opportunities to slip through our fingers, and and I'm not talking about just with everything, whether it's friends or relationships, and
Yeah.
to your point with marriage, we're always trying to chase status or something, the next thing, and
And there's always somebody bigger than you
hmm
or doing more than you. And, it's like that was one of my worst things is, uh, looking around and seeing, I'm not as good as that guy. I'm not doing as much. He's playing a bigger hall, or
hmm
he sold more records, or it was like it was always something you could never appreciate.
yeah,
We used to tour with, even when we toured with Allies, there was like 3,000-4,000 people in those gigs.
hmm
But I would always see the six people. There's 6 seats in the back that nobody's sitting in.
Mm.
It's just you can find something wrong with everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
And
Yep.
yeah,
Well, one of the biggest dangers is also comparison. You do that and you start comparing yourself. Well, I won't. Gosh, like I wish to your point, bigger halls and honestly, my brother and we were raised on comparison because if you say you're twins,
oh
the first
sure.
thing you do is well, let me look at what the difference. Well, you're fatter than this one, and you're taller and you're shorter, and you
I'd
got
hate to have a matching
it.
set. Lord, at least I can. At least I feel like I'm kind of original.
Yeah, exactly. But
exactly.
it's like through life, though. I mean, I found that. I mean, I've grown up with it, but that's in every phase of life where you're wondering, okay, what is it? Why can't I have that? And it's like, okay, Lord, what do you have for me? And
Yeah.
allow me to be content with what I have. And that's a struggle sometimes, is to be just content with God saying, you know what, be a good steward of what I've given you. But there's a
Yeah. You
challenge
know
there
what?
sometimes.
I gotta tell you, when after COVID, I was talking about COVID hitting, and suddenly I'm sitting on my back porch. And I was not happy about it. Not happy. I'm just going, man. I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
I didn't prepare for a job as an electrician or something.
Mm.
I do music, and it's gone. It like, it dried up.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting on my back porch, and my daughters figured out really quick that I was available. Started bringing the girls, my granddaughters over, little pumpkins, like 2-3 years old, and I'm watching babies. And that seemed like the worst thing. Going, oh great, now I'm herding chickens. It's like it just seemed like the worst thing. And it's like God had to force me to see
Mhm.
something beyond me,
Mhm.
as it were.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that, but whole career is about me. It's
Mhm.
about what am I doing?
Right.
And you want to, because especially with guys, it's a matter of significance. You want to feel like you are significant,
Right.
and man, that's an elusive thing, because as soon as you think you're significant and you look around and you're not,
Mhm.
and even if you were significant for a while,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
eventually you're going to be on your back porch going, I'm babysitting a 2-year-old.
Mhm.
This isn't, I didn't plan for this.
Yeah.
But now I cannot. I break out into a rash if I have to go to the airport. It's like
Yeah.
and then here, let me spend 5-6 hours a day, of the day flying to something to do a 1 hour thing,
Mhm.
sitting in a hotel by yourself, and then get on another airplane and spend another 5 hours. You spent 3 days away from home, and you've accomplished an hour's worth of work,
Mhm.
Right.
and just the enormity of the waste of time that you start to feel,
Yeah.
because you're not home, and you miss the details of your kids, and you don't see your friends, and you kind of wonder what happened to them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And they want.
so the podcast has introduced me. It wasn't like God told me flat out. He just says, "Would you let go of the one thing that you're best at?" You know, if I ask you to,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm going, yeah, but this is I only have one talent. You know, you're going to ask me to take, you know, to give that up. It probably took me a good 3 years to think, you know, what? I just want to be purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of lost the need to be significant,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to be purposeful.
Yeah.
And I think most men, you know, give us something to do for the love of God,
Right.
you know, and now I'm loving the nutshell sermons because because it forces me to go back and look at the scriptures that I thought I knew
Mm-hmm.
and then find something new about them, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and you know, going into purpose, it's funny because, you know, and you talk about men, we can ride on the, you know, on the shoulders of our trophies for so long and the things that we've done in the past, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a chaplain in a prison, so I'm meeting with people day in and day out that are always looking at their past, you know, I mean, about all the
Mm-hmm.
things they did, and these are the things that define who I am, and you know, and the thing I always try to convey to them, and when I do that, I have to convey that to myself, which is, you know, it doesn't matter so much what we did yesterday, you know, the positive or the negative. What am I doing
Mm-hmm.
today? Because time, whatever I
Yeah.
did wonderful today, tomorrow it's yesterday's news, and the time just keeps getting further and further away from that win. And the question I believe that God really wants to ask us, you know, is what are you doing now? You know, and to have that
Yeah.
purpose and to have God give us that purpose to do that. And to your point with the nutshell sermons, you know, I started listening to them last year when I saw that they came on, and I was like, man, these are, you know, I wonder how long these things are, and they are. They're bite size, and I
Yeah.
wasn't sure what
2 minutes.
2 minutes
Yeah.
what you were going to be
They're
talking.
exactly 2 minutes.
But then here's the thing. I see it at 2 minutes, and I'm like, it's almost over. It's
I
almost
know.
over. And then before I know it, it's over. And I'm like, that wasn't enough at all. Now I have questions. You know?
Well, you know, you usually have to listen to it twice anyway
Yep.
because I'm talking so fast,
Oh, you are.
and you miss a lot of the smart aleck. Because I was doing one today. It was talking about, you know, Oswald Chambers was talking about being tirelessly effective for Jesus. You know, I says, I don't think I've ever been tireless. I've had the wheels come off a few times, and that goes by so fast that you don't even catch it. I'm going, man, that was funny right there, and nobody's going to catch it.
Well,
Or you know, talking to me yesterday, I was talking about you know, people using big words, you know, to sound more spiritually correct, and says, you know, the purpose of the incarnation was for the purpose of atonement. And I'm going, you know, and the first thing I thought is, I prefer incarnations because they hold up better than roses. And it's like, this is why I can't get through the end of a scripture without, you know, ruining it somehow, ruining it. And so, you know, I mean, it's fun, but I don't know what the point of some of the stuff that I do is, but
I don't know.
I've learned about my family, about being around them,
Yeah.
and having a 3-year-old just excited to see you.
Yeah.
I mean, no fan was ever like that, you know.
Yeah.
Is I've got a 3-year-old, I call her P-Lip, and she comes running in, throws her arms around my leg because that's how she's only that tall, and you know, just you know, and I going, wow, what's this feeling?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever had that feeling before. So
yeah.
That's,
I mean, but
you
it's
know, we don't realize we're missing stuff until God slaps you in the head and says, "Stop doing this and do that."
yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
and you pout for the first year, at least.
Yeah.
First year, I'm going, no, I wasn't born for this. You know, I want something. You know, like my prayers you go to here at church. Dear God, you got anything bigger? You know, I feel like I've been pretty faithful here, and I guess I'm asking for a raise.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Exactly.
Now, we're getting kind of late on time here, but I do want to
Yes,
ask
we
you
are.
this, because Road to Redemption, Radio Rehab, you do this thing here too, which is cool. But there's a quote on here I just want to ask you about, because it says the stage is a great place to be. It's also a great place to hide. Just wondering if you can
Oh
just
yeah.
expand on that, because that's a very deep
Very
quote.
deep. Yeah.
The stage is a place that for the most part, you rehearse everything you're going to do. The songs, you have your set list. You get up there and you walk up and you're a performance. Even a preacher, he knows what he's going to say for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
He's reading his notes, and you know how to project, and you learn how to, what gets the audience and how to say things just right so that people, get it, so you can get a certain feeling out of the crowd and stuff. And it's real easy to. It's like my dad used to say. He says the hardest thing for me in becoming a preacher was I stopped reading the Bible for me. It was like, no, I'm reading this for a sermon.
Yeah.
Well, I can throw this at people. Wow, this is a great sermon.
Yeah.
I can tell. Oh, I'm going to tell you about.
Right.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you're invisible. You're not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about radio rehab was I learned to take a moral inventory in recovery program, which means you sit down every morning and you'd go through a list of things. You'd start with gratitude, then you would confess something. What did you do? What did you say that might have been hurtful, or what sin did you commit? Or it was confession. It was like you thank God, and then you confess to God something about your day, your way you did, and then ask Him for something, a request. And it was called a moral inventory, but basically it was just giving you a homework assignment of saying to yourself, "How am I doing?" Without anybody else in the room.
Right.
And that's. I remember I had a sponsor, and I would talk to him all the time, and he would ask me how I'm doing, and I would give him my usual spiel, and then he'd say, "And are you lying to me now?" It's like, because even when you're by yourself, it's amazing how you can lie to your own self. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not that bad. I'm not like that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know, it's true. Well, and I can definitely appreciate that. And just the stage is funny. Years ago, I was thinking about the stage because I had wrote a song called "The Stage Minus Me," because I thought, okay, like the stage, like Lord, take me away from it so that I'm not just a performer. Somehow take it over, and it turned into more of, Lord, take over the stages of my life, not just the
Ooh, that's
physical
nice.
stage.
Ooh, that's nice.
But like I have so many stages, and I don't want to perform through every single one. Allow me to be me, but you reflected through me, not just a performer. And I try and think about that. Like it's good to be who God created us to be, but through those stages of life, Lord, please just take it, because I don't want to be the one that gets in the way. And so
That would make a great nutshell sermon. That's kind of a nutshell sermon where you juxtapose being on stage versus the stages of your life. There's a nutshell sermon in there.
yeah,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Take
You can
it.
take it. I'm not planning on doing one.
I'll give you credit if I steal it.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Hey, one quick, my son, he loves music. He's involved in music. I think my brother's his son as well. Joe and I were both raised on music, your music. What's some, any advice that you would give to new, artists or soon to be artists, or those that
Oh,
want to get
man.
involved in music, besides don't do it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But music has changed so much, and the business that I knew is non-existent. Their distribution companies sell record sales, hard copy CDs. No, none of that. Record companies, no, everything's on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I really, sadly, I don't think I could speak with any credible advice to what new kids are doing. I'm working with one of my sons on a song I gave him for Christmas. I'm going, I'll record the song with you, and it's one he wrote. And man, his style is different. I kind of don't get it, and some stuff I don't even like. I'm going, really? That's what you're gonna play? That's what you're gonna say? That I'm antiquated when it comes to music.
Yeah.
And I think, somebody said one time, it's one of the rich guys, he said, the best thing you can do is show up every day and not make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
I think that might be the best thing you could tell somebody is be there every day and do the next right thing. And I don't know what that is for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But moral inventory would probably help. What am I doing? What do I want to do?
Right.
Where am I going? What should I ask God for today?
I love that.
And that's probably what I do most is, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a long process. Sometimes he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well,
Sometimes
thank
he
you.
leaves us.
I like that.
Sometimes he leaves us waiting and leaves us listening. You know.
Yeah. I can hear him snickering in the background too, by the way.
Yeah. That still small voice is sometimes laughing at us too.
Yeah. Maybe I should rephrase that.
Yeah.
Because, when on the nutshell sermons, I do prayers you won't hear in church, and they're hysterical because, if you think about the things that you've said in your prayers, you're going, well, number one, I'm so off base, he couldn't answer that if he needed to. It's like, well, first of all, you're an idiot. You have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have an aerial view of the mess you're in.
Yeah. Exactly.
I need to get
That's
that
true.
book. I see that's available to purchase. So I'm going to have to get that book.
Yeah, me
that
too.
sounds like one sounds like what I need to read.
Oh, the
use
prayers.
that.
Oh, yeah, prayers you won't hear in church it's on Kindle.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
on a
perfect.
Kindle app. It's actually called Dear God, Really.
Yeah.
It's like
That's it.
and then Dear God, Really, prayers you won't hear in church. And on Nutshell Sermons, I'm doing a whole new series of prayers you won't hear, a little more complicated, and but still smart aleck. I started one today called Dear God, What? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Like, that's my prayer for today. What?
You know,
I
I
missed
was
that.
I was starting a weird blog a long time ago that was kind of quirky. That was called "Who Plugged the Church Toilet," and and that was just all about like
It was all
where do
about me.
when you walk into a stall, where am I supposed to put my Bible? And I would come up with a list. There's no place to put your Bible, so I just came up with a list of all kinds of crazy stuff, and so
Spiritual conundrums.
yeah,
You
exactly.
These are things that we need to know.
Right.
Exactly. So one last crazy question before we sign off. What kind of guilty pleasures do you have? So is it Netflix? Is it crime TV? Do you like watching Teletubbies?
Reese's peanut butter cups. Reese's peanut.
My guilty pleasure is chocolate. I mean, I have to have chocolate every day.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like chocolate chips,
Oh.
or chocolate chips in your ice cream,
Mm-mm.
or I just finished a 3D. You know how people go on a diet fast.
Oh.
I go on an all fudge diet where I only eat fudge for like 3 days in a row, and eventually you drop into a sugar coma,
I would say.
and you lose like 3 pounds.
Oh, how funny.
That's all you had is fudge, and so yeah, that's probably my guilty pleasure is, and God has not asked me to give that up. I'm hoping that that's why I've lived so long, is because turns out chocolate is better than vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. You
love
smile
that.
a lot more. You
Yeah,
smile a lot more when you're taking chocolate and vitamins. for
Exactly.
sure.
Exactly.
But
Well, I just want to say, Bryan, just thank you for the music that you've produced, that you've written over the years, from 2 kids who were struggling with a family that was broken at the time that Strong Medicine came out. The music that we heard, the videos that we saw, we lived off of Christian music, and you were a big influence, not only
Wow.
in music, but really in our relationship with God and growing a closer relationship with Him through music. And so, just want to thank you for that, because it's
Man, that's so amazing to hear.
yeah.
thank you.
I mean, you think about 20 years, 30 years of singing, and you play the gig, and then you're off to the next town the next day. I mean, and you never know what you've done or if it's been worth anything, so to hear that,
Yeah.
it's like,
no, to say
that's
say
pretty
this,
humbling.
we would not be. I can honestly say neither one of us would not be walking with the Lord if it weren't for the music that we listen to, the words. The Stand in My Place really changed my life.
Mine
of
too.
Understanding what God did for me, you know, and
That's amazing too, because I remember thinking that I'd been too cavalier in my music. So busy being clever that I was missing the gospel, and that very reason, Strong Medicine. I wrote "Stand in My Place" because I felt like I'd never actually said, "This is what Jesus did for you." Because if you grow up in church, you just feel like everybody's heard that, and so you don't present it. And I'm going, now it falls out of my head all the time because of suffering, and most of my friends have got health challenges and terminal illnesses and pain that doesn't go away, and it's like, wow, prepare yourself, because the end of your life is just going to be you and Jesus.
yeah,
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the music.
Well, thanks for
the song,
sharing
the
with me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So, but anyways, Bryan, thanks for spending an hour of your evening with us. It's past all of our bedtimes.
That's good though, because there was no football on anyway.
I know.
There you go.
It did. It
Like,
worked.
we're in the playoffs now, and normally this would be Monday Night Football, and
Right.
No.
probably would have had to postpone somehow.
Okay, so
But
who's
all
your
my
team?
teams are out of
they
the running, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you could just root for the Chiefs, and we'll just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. You mean root for the refs? Like, I can see you guys are. You could have gone all
actually,
night without saying that.
Actually, I was going for the Lions. But since they dropped,
I was too. I was really disheartened. I'm going, man. I was really broke up, and then to have that little punk kid, he's from San Bernardino, Jalen Daniels.
Really?
Oh.
He went to school at San Bernardino.
Okay.
Wow.
But I'm going, he's a brand new kid, and for him to get to go to the big time, I mean, he's just killing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of not fair, We're back to comparing ourselves.
Yeah.
When I played football, I was second string. I didn't even make the team after that.
Well,
and here this guy, first year in the league, right?
Yeah.
He's going to go
I know.
probably be in the Super Bowl.
I know. Look at that.
Crazy. Well, Bryan, we won't take up any more of your time, but we do want to thank you again for taking your time with us here today. And
yeah, I appreciate it. It was a good conversation.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
These are those kind of conversations that you could chat all day, all night.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're fun to do that. That's the way it should be, right? Hopefully.
Hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine you guys got boys. You got sons, both of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No twins.
And daughters, but yeah, no twins though. Yeah.
No twins,
Yeah,
but
sons and daughters.
how old are they?
My son's 15. And then
And then I have an 8-year-old son, an 11-year-old son, then a 17-year-old daughter. So
What? 17-year-old daughter, man.
I have a 26-year-old daughter. She was here with her husband last night.
Lord.
So
Yeah.
Well, you got my email now. You can send me pictures of your
yeah, there we go.
That'd be great.
All
do
right,
that.
you can send us pictures of your grandkid wrapped around your leg.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got pictures. I put them all. They're on Facebook all the time. I put.
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Love
funny.
it.
I try to cut it back a little bit, but there's pictures of most of them in there
Sweet.
someplace.
Yeah.
Well,
It was nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
You
We
too.
won't be strangers.
Yeah.
all right.
No,
And so
Thank you,
for
Bryan.
everybody else, we just want to say thank you for listening to Christian music. Christian music.
Twin Speak.
Twin
Christian
Speak,
music,
Christian
another
music,
stuff.
another stuff.
Get it together, Joe.
We've got it here with Matt Prainito, my lesser smart half, and of course Bryan Duncan, and please everybody go check out Nutshell Sermons.
Yes.
If you're listening to this, check out Nutshell Sermons. You definitely, whether you've listened to music from the past or the present, you're just going to love them and you're going to laugh and you're going to be encouraged. You'll get everything there. But other than that, subscribe, like, share. We appreciate it. God bless everybody.
God bless. Be good people. Take care.
You don't have any music to go out with? Ba-da-da-da-da,
Yeah, you do it.
ba-da-da-da-da.
Perfect.
So do I just push a button up here and then I'm out of here?
Don't
No,
get
I'm
out of
gonna
here.
I'm going to hit stop.